Welcome back to Suzerain with Flash Advancement and Chapter 1, President Rayne. Of our second run through. Let's see how long that lasts. Alright, let's have a look at, if I can stop the mask going a bit crazy. News, Sordland today. Talking about anything we didn't know already. Lockhaven Times. I think I've read these already. Radical, and all this, but yeah, I've read all these already. It's just restructure the infrastructure. Yeah, we've read about last episode. Okay, infrastructure report. Recent collapse of tourism in Limburg has led to reduction in trade traffic and road maintenance. The road network needs a lot more improvement. Firms doing business in Limburg report significant shortages of warehousing facilities, so that's Limburg. Limburg rather. We're not going to do that yet because that's an infrastructure project conversation. Let's have a look around here first. Increasing unemployment. Rising unemployment continues. Words. The number of people filing for unemployment in Morning continues to rise as the recession continues. In the aftermath of the crisis, unemployment is 9%, so unemployment, let's go over here. First time in 3 years, agriculture output in Sordland has increased. Many experts think that link the increased output to both a drop in temperatures and new farming practices. Farmers are now accessing more generous credit allowances from the government, which were left over from the Suzerain administration. Okay, some positive news there. To your infrastructure project. The recession has led to reduction in rail assets, with more than a fifth of the rail network itself antiquated, being mothballed in recent years. While the main line of the rail network is currently in service, increasing demand for goods from Gelsord to the capital is pushing the network to its limits. The rail signalling system in the region dates from the middle of last century. Is also the improvements to the rail estate, and we've got increased homelessness. The region of Berg is among the worst hit regions of Sordland, where homelessness has skyrocketed since the recession, increased by 25%. Particularly stark among Bloodish people, where homelessness has increased by 72%. Wow. The Bloodish minority of the region now account for 47% of all homeless people. That's frightening. Nothing from abroad to bother us with. Alright, okay, let's dive into the who's going to get what infrastructure, but if I can get my mouse to calm down. I've got sensitivity to and write it down as well, it's still bonkers. Does it right? 1 or 2 planned megastructure infrastructure projects. Right, so has put forward 2 bold plans for mega infrastructure projects that will help the economic recession in the long term. Investing projects of this scale will take up some portion of our budget. Yeah, let's do it. Sticks down to do. Decreased budget. Okay. Discussion of potential infrastructure projects. Blue Mansion, Lockhaven. The view towards a Markian Sea from Lockhaven was nothing short of exquisite. Let's move him out. Alright, there we go. The seaside state residency, fittingly named the Blue Mansion, was large, fine and accommodating. But enjoying the luxurious mansion wasn't the main reason for our visit. We gathered the economic team here to discuss a new infrastructure investment project. Half an hour had already passed since the start of the meeting. Unfortunately, I did not even have a chance to have my usual afternoon coffee. Looking at the view from windows, I let my mind drift for a couple of seconds. Simon's voice brought me back into the ongoing discussion. Mr. President, we need to focus on boosting the economy as quickly as possible. One of the fastest ways to achieve this is through infrastructure projects. What can we focus on? On one hand, business not complain about the slow logistical rail network between Holswood and Lockhaven. Leaders started talking as soon as Simon took a breath. On the other hand, citizens are criticising the lack of proper highway connections between Lockhaven and Arvery. The highways by the seaside are not only dangerous but difficult to traverse. We need to heed the calls of the business in these days of recession. Yeah, we need to pick the most profitable option for the economic growth. which is obviously connecting our two most economically powerful cities. It is not the business people that suffer, but the ordinary folk. What really matters, though, is what we can accomplish something tangible in our first economic act. We must prove our administrative capabilities. The people must know that this mission can get things done. We need to prove the economy gets out of recession. Therefore, I've defined two important projects for attention: the HD Highway project and the L1 high-speed rail network. Mr. Hole repositioned himself on the chair to take a more comfortable posture. The Ministry can only support one project at a time. With the current capacity and budget, let's move on to the details of each. So, which one do you want to hear first? Yeah, that one. I've done both of these in the two previous playthroughs. The XV project aims to improve the abysmal state of the road network between Agland region and border Agnolia. The area is home to several million Agno, Swordish and Swordish who feel neglected. There's no proper highway connection to or from Agland. The Mayor of Arvery, Eric Neal, has been asking for a bigger budget to develop the regional infrastructure. He told us that even trucks are having a hard time travelling through the main roads. The increased traffic is causing trouble for people commuting in and out of the region. We can't leave the request of Eric. We can't leave the request of Eric Neal apartment unanswered. That must be cumbersome for citizens. I agree. This could hurt local businesses. I'm not sure it's a priority for us right now. Let's look at the map. Right, so basically there is what we're saying. It's getting from there to there. Okay, Lily's pointed at Lockhaven, which is here. The H3 highway route starts at here and leads towards Lenkirk. From there to Lenkirk. Yeah, along that little road there, by the looks of it. And then from there it goes all the way to Arvery. So from there it goes all the way down there. Okay. As a result, the road network towards the Agnolian capital, Stourport, will improve substantially. She paused and leaned forward in the chair. I saw the central government continuously neck the Agno-Sorish dominated region when I was mayor. Its administration is going to continue this kind of negligence. On previous playthroughs, I don't like this woman at all. We should no longer neglect a key region for our trade. It makes little sense to put investment in such a remote region. That's why we should initiate the L1 project. It has been pointed out the highway will be less beneficial in the near term. I disagree. The increased speed of transportation through the region. It will increase the speed of transportation throughout the region. Our citizens will be quite pleased if we successfully accomplish this. Besides, if we enter trade with Agnolia, they will see the investment as a positive sign. I want to hear the other project. Our predecessor Alfonso had failed to deliver it in his campaign promise, but now the opportunity to start the construction of our groundbreaking railway project. As you know, the current trains cannot meet standards today, as many of the countries that adopt the new electric engine technology to power their trains. We forced one step behind. News about the new electronic trains in United Kingdom has piqued business interest. They want to transport resource. They too want to transport resources and materials from Halsall to Lockhaven with great speed and efficiency. We agreed we must obtain high quality tech for the superpowers. This could empower business and bring investment. I'm not convinced to explain further. Our plans to upgrade the old L1 line from Halsall to Lockhaven. It will transform to a high-speed rail. Look at the map. Okay. Gus pointed at Halsall. Okay, that's that. And it's going to go to... First plan construction start here at the capital. We'll go to Enrica first. So it's going to go from there to there. Then connect to Galsord. There. Then to Galsord. And after that it will then reach Lockhaven. So it's going to go from Halsord to Enrica to Galsord to Lockhaven. It will significantly boost the economy on the newly linked cities and even in the rural areas in between. Lockhaven is our primary port, so goods unloaded here will be transported to Halsord much faster. Yes, the link. We should link the rural areas to the middle, and the middle to the major cities of Sordland. Yeah, I'm going with that one. For the wealthy middle class citizens of these regions, but not for the poor. For the poor Disney won't be able to afford the increased ticket prices. The Mayor of Enrique Curtin Last has also requested this project be prioritised. Business in the region will be very content with the increase of investment and employment, therefore I recommend the L1 has to be a rail project. I've settled on my decision. We're going to go with trains. The right choice. The negotiations will begin in the middle of the year. We will be able to award the contract to corporation of your choice. The Ministry estimates the entire construction will finish in 2 years if every step goes forward. Is going forward as executed successfully. Good. Is there anything else? This should be all. See you soon. Have a nice day. Evening settled on a beautiful coastline of Lockhaven. A cup of tea. I intended to put up a desk on reach it earlier, but last time I did that, I fired it all over my desk. Right, so my mouse has been particularly awkward at the moment. Investment in Occasion company stocks. A personal investment opportunity has been relayed by Mr. Manga, an experienced stockbroker in Ventnor City. Occasion still has valuable shares at Armadine Industries, an up-and-coming electronics company. I'm not going to do this. I always do this, and it comes back to bite me on the wrist. Actually, I'm going to do different. I'm not going to invest in this. I'm going to say no to it. I want to keep my personal investment with personal wealth. Inauguration ball. I've just finished buttoning up my suit jacket when the doorbell rang. The presidential guard had arrived to pick us up for the inaugural ball. The ball's a three-decade-old tradition, breathlessly anticipated by politicians, bureaucrats, and the press. All eyes were about to be on me. I called on Monica to get the children ready. Looking in the mirror, I straightened my tie, took a deep breath. After tonight, there would be no turning back. Suddenly, Diana hugged me from behind, startled me a little. Monica had fixed her hair into an elaborate braid, woven through with ribbons. Papa, Mama, it's time. It told me it's time to go. Her darling, stroke her hair. Someday I'll have to pry the balls away from you. Let's do that one. Papa, don't be gross. Kids, she giggled. It's almost time to leave. The big ball will start in less than an hour. Enough fussing around, let's get a move on. Darling Frank, it's time. Monica came downstairs. She was wearing a simply elegant beige sheath dress and short heels. Her hair was neatly pinned in a chignon, whatever one of them is, showing off her pearl earrings I'd given her on our 15th anniversary. All those years she stayed by my side. Now we're about to begin the most challenging chapter of our lives. How do you do, Mr. President? Embrace her. Now where the hell is Frank? Frank? Yep, go with that one. Nice compliment. That's the charm that got you elected. Frank tushed downstairs. This thing itches. Took at the colours in your tuxedo. He looked ill at ease. I'm glad to have you with us for this big night. Yeah, sure, Dad. I'm just tired to go. Papa, all these people are going to be around us from now on. She pointed the presidential guard at the door of the house. Unfortunately, yes, they can't leave my side until my term ends. You'll get used to it. These people are our friends. Alright, baby. They're here to make sure nothing bad happens to Papa or his family. Monica held down her hand together. They flanked by the guards. We walked out of the door. Halfway to the car, Frank stopped the butler and turned towards me. Dad, do I really have to go? Couldn't I just stay home instead? I immersed Frank by a film comfortable with my son by my side. The oldest son drew smiled reluctantly. Well then, when you put it like that, sure, let's go. Presidential guard showed us the way as red and blue lights flashed around. The surgeon driver ushered us into the armoured limousine. I'm trying to have conversations in different manner in the previous two runs. The motorcade started moving towards the palace. I gazed out of the window deep in thought. What I should have done, in hindsight, with that, I shouldn't have bothered doing an investment plan, because I've always done, past two ones I've ever invested it in either the road or the way. Perhaps this time I should have invested in either. Anyway, Anton, what are you thinking about? I was thinking about Thinking we've come along together, haven't we? Yes, we have. There's still so much that we'll accomplish side by side. So remember, what happens, the children and I will always be there for you. Dear for you. I'm going to help Papa fix everything. Frank rolled his eyes. I know you will, honey. Let's just enjoy the night. After what seemed like a few minutes, the convoy slowed to a halt. Surge rolled down the limousine, soundproof partition. We're here, sir. Hope you enjoy the drive. I did say thank you. Always a pleasure to hear that. Serge opened the door for me, and the normally imposing palace was festooned with garish banners that nearly made it look cheerful. A line of shiny luxury sedans stretched around it. Politicians, bureaucrats and celebrities, the creme de la creme of social elite streamed inside the building. Good look out there, Mr. President. I'll see you on the trip home. I stepped out, immediately found myself surrounded by loud voices and cameras flashing. Hordes of eager journalists thrust their portable microphones my way. My guys fended most of them off, but one woman managed to dodge them, and cornered me. I recognised the Swedish Broadcasting Company logo on a press lanyard. Mr. President, do you plan on working together the opposition parties on the expected constitutional reforms? My administration will bring a little change. The night is for Suzerain. I'm not talking about policies right now. Yeah, let's just fob her off. Does that mean you don't plan on working together? Do you think you share no common ground with other parties? I did not say that. We'll do our job no matter what. No comment. Sorry. One more question. One of your first acts as president was to sign a campaign finance allocating public funds by seats in the assembly as opposed to numbers of votes. Is this a deliberate attempt to defund the communists and bloodiest workers' party, neither of which have reached the election threshold? I've had it with the guards. My motivations are not for you to know. Perhaps it was if left unchecked, these parties will only make trouble for me. It's to ensure the USP has the funds it needs. We need to stay in power. I've had it with your questions, guards. Let's cut her off. That's enough, Mum, said one of the guards while nudging the report away from me. Our path through the crowd was now open. We quickly made our way to the entrance of the palace. At the same time, a dozen fireworks went off. The entrance was decorated with beautiful ribbons with Sordland's colours of white, yellow and maroon. Our lush maroon carpet would have been rolled down the stairs rather. We entered the lobby and joined throngs of people making way towards the ballroom. Behind me I heard a familiar voice. There you are, the most beautiful family in Sordland. Dear Uncle Peter. Hi Uncle Peter, it's great to see you. You two are growing up fast than I'm getting wiser. You two are growing faster than I'm getting wiser. Are you sure you've got to know your voice, Peter? Yeah. Maybe not after all, I'm sticking with you. Touche. Happy to see a familiar face, Peter. Evelyn. Peter's wife Evelyn approached us and shook hands with a firmness that belied her delicate features. Congratulations, Anton. I have to say the results were clear to me from the beginning. That means a lot. Thank you. We both have to make this happen. I wish as sure as you. Appreciate that. Means a lot. The pleasure is mine. It's time to celebrate this victory. I hope you will show the same enthusiasm on the job. Yeah, really. That's kind of that's a spoiler alert. I'm alluding to something that's happened in the previous two runs. It's kind of, yeah. Exactly, that's what we got here. That's what we got here. We can start by getting some drinks. Peter grinned and Becca went roving way to the four of us, took a glass of champagne. Monica, how are you? Barely said a word. I'm more relieved to have this roller coaster ride over with, but of course now the real work begins. Ah yes, managing the help planning party's daily trips to the saloon to look your best for foreign dignitaries. Don't be so old-fashioned, Evelyn. I plan to use my powers firstly to advance the position of women throughout Sordland. Equal rights for our sex are long overdue, wouldn't you say, Anton? Oh, blimey. As long as you don't burn the roaster, I'm alright, Peter. Up to a point, yes. We mustn't neglect the responsibilities. Yeah, that's condescending. Absolutely. Yeah, we'll say that. I should have said that. Flashed a smile. As he jumped in, Dana suddenly jumped in between us and took my sleeve. Papa, can we go out to the ballroom? Of course, darling. I moved to the ballroom. We left the lobby and made our way towards the ballroom. Inside we were yet again surrounded by a noisy crowd, but this time it was politicians who sought to appease the new authority in Sordland. I spent the next few hours shaking hands, joining various conversations, some serious, some superficial, making speeches. We finally sat down for our dinner table with the veterans as the band started playing some slow jazz tunes. Peter acted. Oof, that was tiring. You have to get used to it. Well, suddenly a loud banging noise echoed outside the ballroom, then another and another. The musicians stopped playing. Everyone in the ballroom was looking around in confusion. Peter and I turned to each other, the realization dawning on our faces. Fireworks. No, gunshots. As Monica heard the word, she lunged from her seat. Shield Monica and the kids. Papa, what's happening? I knew it. We should never have gone. We should never have gone. Chaos broke out as guests flung themselves under the tables and others ran towards the door, screaming down the burst of tears while Frank tried to comfort her, hiding the fear in his own eyes. 3 more gunshots rang out loudly. Mr. President, are you alright? Carl Grice, the head of the Swedish police force, was running towards us with 3 more police officers in decorated uniforms. They all had their guns drawn. As soon as they made it to us, I saw that we were unharmed. He let out a big sigh of relief. Thank God. Status report. 1 second, Mr. President. He returned quickly to his men. Check the perimeter now. Paul Johnson, follow my lead. We will bring them to the safe room. He now turned to Monica, Eva and the children and spoke in a softer voice. Don't worry, the situation is now under control. Please follow me. We promptly followed Carl through the winding halls and corridors of the palace. His men had their guns drawn, with nothing to ease attention. On the way, Peter made an attempt to break the silence. What? Night. It's not over yet. It's not over yet. Carl turned us with a serious face as we were back to round the corner. Quiet, please. So I talk when I get nervous. Peter, shut up. Carl flipped a switch on the wall. The panel opened, revealing a hidden staircase leading to a large reinforced door. Inside, a set of merchant's lights flickered on. The safe room was now comfortable and spacious, with expensive-looking leather sofas. Small security monitors on the wall displayed grainy footage of each room in the palace. There was a boardroom and a pantry containing enough provisions for the last of months. Monica and Evelyn sat the children down and started wiping away their tears. Carl stepped away from us and made a few radio calls. When he was done, he returned to me and Peter. So what's the status? That's not the best inauguration, but let's go with this one. So do I have plans for security force? As I raised my voice, he lowered his head in respect. No, sir. Are we going under attack? Who is attacking us? What is going on? Tell me how this circus show happened in my ball. He keep boring about the car went quiet. Pete seemed like he was about to say something, but took one look at me and stopped. And so I will personally conduct the investigation to our security force. Once we figure out what's going on, I can assure you I will be able to deal with incompetence. Good. Good. You better, for your sake, status update. Good, so what is going on? Carl's radio suddenly crackled to life. Every second felt like an eternity as he pressed his ear to the receiver. He fell silent and turned to us. Good news, we are not in danger at the moment. The situation has been dealt with and the perimeter has been secured by guards and the police. He glanced towards Monica, Evelyn and the kids. If I may, sir. He gestures towards a more private corner of them and started speaking more quietly. This is what we know so far. We have been confirmed that 2 people were gunned down in the front of the palace. The attacker is one of them. We have reasons to believe he was working alone. He fired 3 shots at an MP, 1 to the head and 2 to the body, killing him instantly killing him. Presidential guards at the palace immediately shot and killed the attacker. He has not been identified yet and will require an investigation. The MP that was killed was identified as Bernard Circus. Bernard Circus is a Swedish poet and novelist. He's also a big communist. Yep. Moved to United Cantana to study at Sociology and Communist University of Kiev. Yes, okay. This is huge, Anton. This will cause a lot of problems. I think this is one of the scripted events that happens at the start. It happens. I've noticed throughout this game a lot. There are certain scenarios that it might be the way I play, but certain scenarios happen irrespective of what you do. I think, and this is one of them. A lot of problems. Peter pulled out tissue gas, handed me one. He turned to Evelyn. I came trying to assure everything was going to be alright. Monica was still trying to tend to Diana's frank pace with mumbling that we should have stayed home. Comfort Monica and the kids. Yeah, we are safe. I'm not sure everything's going to be fine. We can't be sure of anything anymore, Anton. Look, let's say I took a deep drag. I was going to see this through and keep my family safe at all costs. I crushed a cigarette in the ashtray. Okay. Right. Sordland today. Rayne not interested in cooperation. Yeah, misquote. MP shot nation in shock. There we go. The fact that it's such a violent act happened in the heart of the capital during the President's inauguration has worried many. The Red Youth, they are communist youth who are in favour of united Contana and the Melanievist ideals. Yeah. Yeah, political violence is the theme for that one. That's not good. Not good at all. Right. The commotion in the capital have been heightened after the murder of Bernard Circus. Mayor also reports everything under control. Security around the Moon Palace has increased with the combined efforts of the household police department and Presidential Guard. Okay, so right, so then we get this little emergency meeting. The emergency situation was gloomy. My cabinet members were gathered to discuss the shooting outside the palace. Lily has presented the initial report. Bernard Circus was shot dead at 9:03 PM in front of the palace gates. He's an elected independent member of the assembly and is, as you know, a famous communist. She spat the last words out with some distaste. The guards at the scene were 50 metres away and immediately took action by responding, killing the assailant, who was identified a member of the nationalist organisation, the Young Swords. Young Swords are the right wing, so you've got the Red Youth are your communists, the Young Swords are your fascists. Who I, for some reason, decided to join when I was a youngster, which I'm not sure I was thinking, but anyway. Yep, we know we were unharmed, we know that because we were there. Why was it? So why wasn't the target? So I wasn't the target. Fortunately, yes, you were simply in the wrong place at the wrong time. A security force have no reason to believe anybody has motivations to act against the President of Sordland for now. Investigations are suspecting a political assassination since the Young Swords will be threatening the communists for some time. There's a dangerous atmosphere when the left versus the right. Political violence in the 1920s might spark once again. Return to those days will be devastating, and the cues are the reason why our country is stagnated for a decade. Minister of Justice sighed. The Red Youth have condemned the killing, but didn't stop there. They're promising revenge. This will spark further aggression from the Young Swords. The whole cycle started because Bernard Circus expressed his views. We can't simply look away. Nia had always been one of the many members of the Justice Ministry truly deserving their name. She had survived countless attacks on her character while fighting corruption within the ministry, and was rising in power had only compounded a sense of moral duty. Freedom of expression is part of our constitution. We can't have anyone, let alone an MP, shot for voicing different opinions. I agree we should act to protect freedom of speech. As Red Youth promotes the threat to our country, we should be cautious. They should be put under then they should put under the loop for such extreme action. I don't know what to do here. That's picking a side, that is. Yeah, go after them for change. Agreed, we are always watchful of the internal threats like the banned Communist Party members who are supportive of some agenda with the Red Youth. These groups wouldn't resort to conventional means if they were represented in our assembly. The high electoral threshold bans are making these factions extreme, which I agree. Defence Minister Isef Alancia grunted in disapproval. He towered over the rest of his full military uniform. Many of his war medals were conspicuously on display. Don't be stupid, woman. These organisations speak against the state. The Labour Union of Sordland is also in the same, but I wouldn't be surprised if United Contana had a hand in supporting all of them. We should refrain from making this issue a political from the start. It will only add fuel to the fire. I agree. You're alright, we need to calm the situation. A government is capable of maintaining security. Our job is to reduce tensions. Several police cars rush past and moon past and everyone in silent. Regards to our full investigation on all involved parties now underway, we will find subversives and punish them soon enough. I'll do my best to help coordinate the administrative tasks. Justice will be served and the rule of law will return to this country stronger than ever. Only if we stay vigilant as a country, we must think about the upcoming budget. Concern must be maintained. Yeah, I'm sure Mr. Material has already taken necessary precautions. You can be assured that our police units and intelligence have increased the threat condition. Nobody should be able to move a finger against the government officials. Lucien took some notes after checking his latest newspapers and reports. It seems that tensions between the communists and nationalists will escalate further. It will be very difficult to pass meaningful change if there is chaos in the country. We can't pass any constitutional reforms in such an atmosphere. We can't fix recession in this instability. I know the reason behind some of these comments. Having gone through ton. It's like if you've watched my third playthrough, you'll have, and you're a decent member, you'll remember why I'm looking at this going, that's why. We learnt certain things at the end of the second run that made a lot of things that happen now kind of seem like that's why. But I'm trying to look at this without doing any spoilers. We can't fix recession if there's instability. You're right, we need to trust our ministers to stabilise the situation if it comes to it. This will be it for today then. We will convene again soon. Thank you for your keep us updated. The meeting concluded and everybody left. It was hard to anticipate what would happen next. I can probably guess. So, murder at the palace. Yep. Okay, so let's go and press continue. A few days later. And it's still a few days later. There we go. Okay, let's have a quick scoot around the cool. Hang on, there's some paper for us to look at. Horton critiques trade. The imbalance of trade between our countries concerns areas of how much more Southern's profits from my net comparison to Magnolia. Basically, that's set us up for the upcoming trade deals, that is. Right, so we've got. Let's read the news first, because that's always more. Sordland plus politician shot dead. Yeah. So crime. Okay, we know about that. United despite the differences. Yeah, that's again nothing to read there. Again, if you want me to slow down with some of these, so we can have a proper read of them, let me know. But I'm just conscious that if I start reading these, we'll be here all day. It's like I say, if you haven't played this game, play it literally just for the codex, just to have it to read a history of the countries. It's just the amount of work that's gone into this is just bonkers. Like history, for example, important events, the Markian Empire. Again, the Markian Empire was the largest country in the world, considered to be the most advanced civilization. Died. It's just a whole. That's crazy. A whole history of this exists. What else have we got? Migration. The renowned aristocracy. Just crazy amounts of history here. It's just like take a read of it. It's just it's insane the amount of work's gone into this. Hedge Island invasion. Opportunities in the 1920s, an empire of Vaglos was going through revolution. Yep. So basically, we will know to come and know and love the Helgi Islands. Great 5 Combat, Centre of Revolutions. Again, just there's an insane amount. Again, if you want me to have a session dedicated to just looking at the history of these countries and talking about them, and we can go through this type of stuff. We can go through the timeline and we can have a look at it, because, like I say, it deserves some kind of nuity. Is a monolithic religion. Never know about that. That's a gun. To remember nuity. Again, I've looked at some of this myself. It's a crying shame. I might do a special on this, as in just kind of have a look at Sordland's history, read through all these different things. It seems a shame to completely ignore it. All we know about that. Internal bodies, we'll come to know all of that later. There's an obscene amount. There's so much work gone to this. Is ridiculous. Yeah, so I'll have to think about. I've said this. I say this every time we play this game. I'm going to do something around that, and I never do. And I do want to. Yep, as obviously Radical are going, because he's one of theirs. Bailing out businesses. That's interesting. Yeah. So even if you don't want to play this game, if you're a fan of alternative history is wrong, but if you're interested in like fictitious history of an entire culture, then just get stuck into this, because it will keep you going for a while. Anyway, I digress. More things to look at. Police have a burden restored. Escalating violence. So they haven't got enough police or gear. Police understaffed. Yep, not enough people basically. Young swords attack. Young youthlinger leader dead after terror attack. Jack Turn has a clear response for the organized attack. Yeah, okay. All of a sudden, KA-74s have been found. Brumberg made weapons. They are going to be a thorn in our side, they are. What do they want? Smollett warns traitors. Latest diplomatic message leader of some have warned us regarding the pathway for the mountains of Bergia that asked traitors of the state to escape to Sordland. President Victor Smollett has demanded that the border security be increased, and his ambitious wishes in handling present problems in Sordland. Yeah, we'll meet the gentleman that runs this place soon enough. Yeah, he's not the sanest of people. More illegal firearms. Again, illegal firearms. So basically, it appears we're having lots of guns are landing their way into Sordland from various different people. Communist leader suspected of bomb attack. Leader bomb attack. Yeah, okay. Weapons seized at the cultural centre. Youngsters cultural centre. 22 rifles from the army. Okay then. So basically, everything's fallen to bits. Is the summary of that little trip through the country. So let's read this one. Chief of Police Carl Greiser reports two police women with other affiliations to BFF have been caught in Halsall before they could execute a terror attack at a crowd that arrived. Both women are listed as wanted criminals, enemies of the state. They admitted their intentions to attack the NFP's rally when Kezra Kibena gave his speech. Quite honestly, that's something I wouldn't really be bothered about, to be quite honest with you, because the guy's a loon. The guy's a far right lunatic. Let's go with dinner first for the family. The long day had passed. I finally got home. I was finally home. I thanked Serge and walked through the gates, nodding at two guys I went by. To turn the doorknob, I could hear Diana rushing downstairs to greet me. I opened the door, and there she was, standing in front of me with expectant eyes. "Papa, you're home." Lift and hook her. She goes fast, lifting up as long as easy as it once was. Yeah, my lad's 7 years old, and he's getting a bit tall and a bit. He's stocky. He's not fat, but he's stocky. He's well built, and I used to be able to lift to sit on my head. Now it's just blimey. It's like dead weight. They get big quickly. Anyway, how was school? Boring. I like my old school better. I know expression too serious. Papa, are the bad men gone? And he's gone now, yep. Okay. Dash down the hallway. Mama, Papa's here. Monica, paid executioner, she was wearing an apron, holding a spatula in one hand. Don't know what to tell you, no running in the house. Yes, Mama. Monica approached me, kissed me on the cheek. A tantalising smell wafted from the kitchen behind her. Mum, I'm hungry, where's dinner? How was your day, dear? Terrific, I finally got to some grocery shopping just like the other times, and I'm making your favourite, and you mean... Yes, Lorshka. Lorshka was like Haven's specialty, usually reserved for special occasions, a rich seafood stew with a heady garlic and paprika kick. That's different to what I got. The same conversation happens in the other two runs through, and I think you get different options if you go with the different start points, because the start points you either come from Whole Sword, or you come from Lackhaven, or you come from Dyer, and they're different kind of, it's almost like kind of poor working class, middle class, or upper class. It's kind of, yes, you get different kind of things, different meals. I think that's one was Borshka. I might have made that up though. But anyway, so that's your favourite dish, especially paired with cabbage, a potent unfiltered waffle vinegar. That doesn't change. Cabbage is always a pick of a choice. It's my lucky day. What's the occasion? Where's the cabbage? What, UMP didn't breeze it enough back at the palace. Anyway, I just wanted to cheer everyone up a bit. Her smile faded as she lowered the voice so Dana wouldn't hear. Especially what happened at the ball. I'm worried Anton for you and the children off the country. Danny suddenly appeared next to us. Mama, yes, I'm hungry. Well, listen just a minute. Will you help me set the table? And I'm going to tell Frank to come down after he's been sulking in his room all day. Monica started taking out the china while I headed upstairs to fetch my son. Loud rock and music echoed down the hallway from his room. I caught into a faint hint of cigarette smoke. Opened the door. The door was locked. Frank turned down that racking lock on the door. There was no response. Knock on the door again. There's still no response. Bang on the door. The stereo in Frank's room clicked off. Alright. He locked the door and opened it. What do you want? Turn those records up the next time, won't you? I don't think the neighbours heard. And your father will respond and ask you. I know the cigarettes and your dinner. It's a bit. How many people? Anton as in me, this character, he smokes. So he's got no right to tell his lad he can't smoke. It's kind of set by example, mate. If you're going to smoke, I can't go and say, give me your cigarettes. He's going, well, you smoke, don't you? Which way we should go with this? I'm ready, your father will respond when I ask you. Hand over the cigarettes and join the family for dinner. And I'm your father and you'll respond when I ask you. Sorry, don't I mean father, it won't happen again. Headed downstairs to the dining room and I followed after. Food's prepared. Monica has laid food onto the plates. Come on, have a seat. It won't be tasty if it's cold. Since the room went quiet, Monica's cooking was delicious as ever. I had a feeling that that wasn't the reason why nobody spoke. Monica was first to break silence. So, say, did you know they refurbished the grocery store? I didn't know, but if you remember the owner, he'd been there every day for the past 30 years. Can you imagine doing the same job for that long? What if you were president for 20 years, for example? Honestly, would that be so bad? I want the country to suffer under another cell. Why not? 20 years I'd be dead. I want to go under another cell. Agreed, must never happen again. Anyway, my guest was really nice person. He threw some extra vegetable with my... Frank suddenly slammed his hands on the table, rattled on the china. Monica and I down the stairs. So this is how it's going to be. We're going to sit here like nothing happened. He's got a point. Dad, you could have been killed. Mum could have been killed. Any of us could have died. He's got a point. Dana's lower lip started to tremble. Monica put her hand on Frank's shoulder. Frank, you know I'll never let it happen to you or Diana, even if it cost me my life. And what would you have us do? Don't you raise your voice to me. And what would you have us do? I don't know. Talk about it, maybe. He's got a point. Fine, let's talk. Sit down. Took his seat again, scowling. It was a close call. Do you think I would let us go down so easily? Smirked. No. But it's up to you, is it? My security assured me they took all necessary steps. It was one rogue shooter. We were not even the target. But if we were, Frank, listen to your father. If your father says we don't need to worry, then we don't need to worry. You have to trust him, like it said to me. We have to trust each other. This kind of alphabet at the table, we finished our dinner with food in silence. Frank got up first and retreated back to his room. Monica lifted down up and popped to in front of the living room TV for returning to the table. She sat down across from me. Anthony's still young. He should feel lucky. His father cares about him, I know, but it's not much longer. We can shield him from the others of the world. Yeah, I know, yeah. At that point, he's scared Anton. He isn't the only one. Yeah, you and me both. Don't worry, Monica, I've played this game twice. I know. I've got for the guy that was Grant to as well. Yeah. He got behind me, a mass on my shoulders for a moment before leaving me alone in the dining room. I sat alone at the table and drank my glass of cabbage. I'd been lying to Frank and Diana. Was the effect of my family truly over? Yes, not a problem at all. It's all going to fine after this. Right, okay, that's that done. More news to read. Pressures across Sordland. Yep, basically that doesn't change. Swords attacking red youth, vice versa. Pressures in Grooney. Concerns of young swords. Also cost of living inequality. So basically, the economic turmoil will then force people into these extremists. Political chaos. Loose, who are they? Oh, they're the Labour Union. They're the I don't think they're communists, but they are not popular with the army. Okay. Young swords, vandalised shops. NF party was burned. Okay, fine. Things are going to pot. That's we all know. We can all see that. Let's now discuss security briefing. Arrived in the front of the doors leading to the situation room. The security briefing was arranged in two parts, starting the initial matters and moving more onto external matters after a short break. Get a quick drink. Minister of Interior, Lewis Craft, and Minister of Justice and Law, Neil Morgan, would be first. Goes for the first part, the law enforcement briefing. The second part, Minister of Defence, Lancier, would join us with a few high-ranking officials, including Chief Armed Forces, Valken Kruger. Open the door. Let's rise from the seats, sir. No, not Lucian. Every room sat down except Lucian. He put on his glasses, went through the documents in front of him. She had to raise his hand to address the attendees. Mr. President, ladies, we will kick off today's meeting with the internal security briefing. I'm assuming everyone is already over the agenda, been on the agenda, busy schedule, so without further ado, I'll jump into our first topic. No, that's obvious. As we feared, it's all gone to pot. The reports around the country indicate tensions are rising as we feared. What is the status of the Berners Circus investigation? I've received news that this morning that the investigation of the murder of Berners Circus is concluded. The more please enlighten us, the more we know the better. Further investigation and testimonies we've confirmed the motive and the events leading up to the shooting. A few days prior, members of Red Youth initiated a violent attack against the Young Swords local leader in Jen. We believe the Young Swords then called for revenge, leading to the death of Mr. Circus. Plausible. Since he often spoke against Young Swords and national sentiment in the Assembly, he's a big target not to mention his radical communist views. Radical Sordland just lost a great writer for what? Political violence is to stop. Yes, we kept it both for so long, but it seems they are now new triggers. There's however an important point in the highlight section of the document. The investigation revealed that in fact the funding sources of the Red Youth have clearly linked to Unity Contana. Yeah, but that's not what. There's no surprise about that. What does this mean? Communist supervisors meddling in our affairs. Several Red Youth members with ties to Unity Contana have been detained, and the information extracted from them points to a preparation for a communist uprising in Sordland. It's a bit extreme, isn't it? This isn't unusual for the separatists to influence the nations. But I think this case is a little far-fetched. Left lacks the popular support in Sordland. Nia eagerly lifted her hand. I mentioned it for her to speak.
I went over the report in detail. It would be wrong to jump to conclusions about a clear foreign interference yet. United Katana has humanitarian and cultural ties with many countries, including Sordland. I don't want to jump any because immediately we shouldn't create a crisis with them. Yeah, I'm not going to jump to conclusions. Plus, I don't like her. 2 run-throughs means that proving I don't like her. After when you've played this game, sometimes it's difficult to try and shake off what you've learnt in previous runs. Nearly 3 decades ago, they funded General Rickard and tried to establish a communist dictatorship in our country. If it was not for Colonel Sal, you get the impression she's an old guard. I took a sip of a glass of water and continued. Our police chief Kilgore says, link the funding channel to Katana consulting Benfey. As you know, the enemies of Sordland are many, but also the threats. We also have threats inside the country. Our country has had issues. This is part of our job. We have the powers to deal with any threat. If we give up essential freedoms to purchase temporary security, we deserve neither freedom nor security, which I agree with. This is debatable, yes. We know what more security and surveillance caused to this country under Sal. Let's not forget President Sal, God bless him, brought stability after a long period of bloodshed and chaos. But moving on. Yeah, she's old guard, absolutely old guard. Just by that one sentence, just that one statement, that proves it without a shadow of a doubt. A similar effect comes from the estimated 20,000 strong Bloodish Freedom Front, BFF for short, led by the imprisoned Duelen Arge. They are a banned political organisation and maintain a militant force that is trying to incite racial violence. They make a lot of noise with little substance. A barking dog doesn't bite. It may seem that way from outside, but police intelligence shows a real potential for them to become dangerous. Page 3 in the report. Our intelligence intercepted 2 crates filled with weapons classed as one board. They're filled with military grade 8 KA-74s. We expect that more have been smuggled in since a group of bloods were caught with these guns at the checkpoint not far away. Rumberg has been acting aggressively in the region for a long time. I'm not surprised they attempt to weaponise the British people against us. This is worrying, very worrying. Can we make direct correlations to blame Rumberg? It was expected Rumberg would undermine us, but this is too far. We need to keep level-headed. Rumberg, they are looking for reasons to take action. We need to be careful. We're level-headed. We do need to be level-headed. They will play dirty while we play nice. It is a battle we will lose. I think it's a battle we could lose anyway, because once we go so I can do it now. So if we go to here, Rumberg, military overwhelming, relations bad. Yeah, they've got overwhelming military. If we, for example, look at weak military, so yeah, that's not a problem. We can have them. Vagsland, strong military. Yeah, so we've got they're overwhelmed. That's my mouse has gone crazy all of a sudden. Yeah, come over here, mouse. That's it. We must be careful not to stoke the fires of anti-British sentiment. This is the most important. What is the second most important threat? It is gang violence that threatens the Nargothragland regions. 2 prominent organised crime families there are at war. The potential bloodshed is real. Why can't we just arrest them? The primary reason is deception and corruption. The village infiltrate several officers and police. That's how they can avoid us, evade us. They're playing with fire. I want them gone. I want them gone for good. I well agree. It would make Sordland a better place. It will not be easy. These exist because corruption is so common in our country. They buy our police officers and slip our checkpoints. This cross our deeply. I shall be honest with you. With our current capabilities, we may not be able to prevent the further arming of separatists while maintaining order in Berg and Nargothragland. With the law enforcement budget isn't increased, I can't fully be responsible for what happens. Our police units are spread thin as it is. You'll do your job, whatever happens. Don't come to me with excuses. Yeah, go on, stuck into it. My job is to keep you fully informed, and that's reality. My experience and expertise keep our country safe from violent forces can only go so far. I wish you would stop using the word thugs. The real problem is corruption, which is fueling gang violence, and is very likely the reason why these weapons were smuggled in. A higher budget could help us end that. Valid points. Corruption is the root of all evil after all. We can look into corruption once the weapons have been found and the gangs have been beaten. Just like the previous administration kicking the can down the road, that is what is destroying our institutions. Lilias and Naya openly scowled at each other. Lilias turned back to her notes. This concludes this topic for the internal portion. Thank you for the updates, Miss Graff and Miss Morgana. Let's move on. Have a good day. Until next time. They're off. We're having a break. Alright, come on, Miss Potato Head. He looks like Miss Potato Head. Or Thumb. Anyway. Upon invitation, Lankier, with 3 high-rank officials from the Ministry of Defence, walked into the room. One of them was none other than General Kruger, the Chief of the Armed Forces. Isaf made his way towards the table. The others sat up by the door. Mr. President, Isaf, welcome. Brought General Kruger with me due to escalations on our borders. Stepped from a salute, had a strong jaw with sharp cheekbones, a tall structure, uniform and medals, combined with a deep, intense stare made him look threatening. In his 70s, yet he had a bulky body as a result of his commando training. He was not only the second most decorated officer in Sordland, he was also the longest serving. General Kruger, as President, is an honour. He tapped his foot impatiently, seemed uneasy in the presence of another high-ranking officer in the room. Gentlemen, thanks for coming to this significant gathering. Let's begin. Take the seats. The rest of the officers stood by the door. Present, the situation on our western and northern borders towards Rumberg is very tense. We are observing deployments of divisions close to our border. Rumberg is acting increasingly expansionist in the past decades, has also interfered in Agnolia, but now they've turned their sights on us. What is your current strategy? Patrolling close to the borders of our border force, keeping armour reserve divisions near. It seems like they want to increase the pressure both externally and internally. Peasant, if I may. Go on. The victory has become clear. The latest information from the interior about weapons caches now there's active military build-up close to our borders. The entire situation was analysed by General Staff, and our prediction is a future total incursion by Rumberg, which I do tend to agree with. I complete through. Yeah. We're not here now, President, but the General Staff is composed of smartest military individuals. I require increased military budget to enlist more soldiers. Only then can we stand strong against enemies, and large armed forces can hold them at bay. Vulcan is right. We need to increase military budget, although we don't see to eye on exactly how to spend that budget. That much we agree on. But concerns about Rumberg too. We need strong allies to withstand such a superior power. They are our nemesis. That's an understatement. Times are changing, and this war is coming, Mr. President. Whether we like it or not, we must be prepared. Do not forget that during the election you promised to focus on military. I expect that word to be kept to the defence of our nation. I'm a man of my word. Of course you are, and that is why I follow you. The only way you can guarantee national survival is through a more capable military force against Rumberg. Yep, I agree with that. Our country hasn't fallen to an invading force for 200 years. We can't let it happen now. We should find regional allies like Vagland or Lesbia to deter Rumberg. There are several options on the table. Sordland must stand on its own 2 feet. One shudders at the sacrifice that it requires to make. Yes, but what is the difference between losing your independence to one or yes, but what is the difference between losing your independence to one or the other? Everyone fell silent when a soldier entered the room. He's got a call coming from the ministry. Excuse me, Mr. President. Left the room to answer. He entered the room expressing a change. Mr. President, there's a Rumbergian military activity close to the Nobel board. I just spoke to the local commander. Welcome, we should go to the ministry and get further updates from our branches. Understood, rising military readiness is the first call of action. If there's a truly extraordinary attempt, we must relate to immediately and wait for your further orders. Make sure they know we are observant and ready. Go and show them the might of the armed force. That's just bluster, because we haven't got that. So he said, remain calm and make sure not to escalate things further. Observant and ready. As always, watching, always ready is our motto, sir. Hail Sordland, hail. Circle off the room. Rumberg was already testing us, and reports from interior indicate interference within our borders, communist, nationalist, British rebels, Rumberg and expansionism. What next? Sordland had always been a key piece of the chessboard of global rivalry, not Casey and Quintana, but in recent years there was there was no such aggression from Umberg, not at these levels at least. So you've got Acacia is your Western capitalist country. Quintana is your Eastern communist country, superpower. And Werbit's kind of this thing that kind of sits in the middle. It's kind of doesn't sit with either one of them. It's just very big, very militaristic and very aggressive. And look, it says one spark to start the flames of war. The phone rang. Woman decided to close their concert in Lockhaven. Again, that's an event that happens all the time. Right, we are in dangerous strain over the hour. So I think after that long and heavy meeting, what we got here? Let's quick look. That is okay. And what you're telling me, that's we know about that. Okay. Well, I'm gonna leave it here, otherwise it's just one more go type games. This is right. Thanks very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed that. Let me know what you think in the comments. Let me know what actions you've had. I'm keen to see what type of comments, because obviously I'm saying to you guys that's a conversation that happens every single time. But I'm wondering how many conversations happen because of the choices I've made. When I am trying to make different choices, I seem to do a lot of the same. So let me think. If you've had completely different conversations, different paths altogether, I'd love to know how. Particularly after the Burner Circus assassination, because I think that's a common feature across the board. But anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed that. Don't forget, like, subscribe, comment, because it helps us out loads. And thanks anyway, and I'll see you in the next one. Alright, bye.